behavior is the only nonverbal communication that our dogs can give us. That's their feedback. That's their communication. That's just information. So my 2-year-old border collie, I've made it very clear on social media that I have had some struggles with her in the training. And so I've made this checklist, and I thought I need to share it with all of you. So behavior, it doesn't occur in a vacuum. There are a lot of influences on behavior. Can you think of anything that might influence your dog's behavior? Now, you know your dog can communicate to you in their behavior. If you've ever seen your dog like play bow and grab your sock and run around and bounce up and down and get super happy when you're going to go for a walk, that's that behavior, the nonverbal communication. But there are those other things that you've now listed. Oh, I hate it when he does this. Or my dog just hates when tall men with hats come near him. Here's a list of the categories that I worked through with this to help diagnose what was the challenge that she was facing. First of all, it's genetics, right? So you might say, oh, my dog is so sniffy. He won't stop sniffing everywhere we go. He just wants to sniff and read the P mail on every tree. Well, you've got a dog who's bred to scent. You know, you've got a beagle or you've got a plot hound. You've got a dog who has an incredible talent for sniffing. And if sniffing really, really drives you crazy, maybe that wasn't the breed for you. Now, am I saying that it is impossible to go for a walk with that dog without them sniffing? I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying if you're in a relationship where you expect more of yourself than of your partner, then you're going to set up environments where that partner gets to do things that they really want to do, aka maybe sniffing for your dog. So genetics drives a lot of behavior. There's hardwired behaviors. Like if you have a cat and you have a border collie, guess what? You're going to have an anxious cat or an anxious border collie, or a lot of dog training ahead of yourself to have them cohabitate together, because border collies were bred to herd animals and cats are amazing to herd. So there's breed-specific genetics. There's also within each breed or within each breeding, you might get a puppy that's a little more fearful, a puppy that is a little more boisterous. So that's how genetics will come into play. So genetics, definitely, you need to do your research before you buy a dog. You need to know the background. It isn't just about the color of dog or the fluffiness of the coat. You really need to find out, even if it's a mixed breed. There's so many great DNA tests today. You can find out what are the mixes are in there, and you should decide, oh, I actually like all of those breeds. Genetics, number one, can't change it, but you can work with it. Number two, the health of the dog. Now, dogs that are in pain, guess what? Their behavior is going to be really, really different. And it might be a gradual change. It might be an overnight change. For example, when my girl Feature got cancer, I didn't realize this was a sign of cancer. She started going into the bathroom and sleeping behind the bathroom door. And it happened gradually over a couple of years. But I've come to find out that goes back to pack instinct. When an animal, they knew they were sick, they would try to hide away from the pack. And so health plays a big role in behavior. So if you're saying, wow, that's different for him, or that's not really like him, then start journaling those things. When did that start happening? So overall health, something as simple as parasites can cause an unbelievable change to your dog. The dog might be injured. The dog might have GI discomfort. So for me, going back to my behavior, I drank a lot of milk as a kid, and I didn't realize until I was in my 20s that I am actually very allergic to milk. So of course that would influence my behavior. So the overall health of the animal is going to have a huge impact on behavior. Number three will be obviously the education. So it is, how good of a dog trainer are you? And you're going to cut yourself some grace, because you're going to look at, I'm not perfect, but I think I did this pretty well. And if you're in a coaching program with a good coach, they're going to tell you, yeah, you did this really well. And your dog's behavior is a little bit out of the ordinary for the mechanics that you've shown here. That's exactly where I was with this. She would just leave work. She would get fearful for no reason. she would never extend her stride. Typical border collie would put a bounce stride at somewhere between 9 and 10 or 11 feet, depending, some might go up to 12 or 15 feet. This would not go beyond 7 or 8 feet. That's it. Couldn't bounce any more than that. So there were things that were telltale signs for me that my training is pretty good, but things aren't adding up with this dog. So under the umbrella of education, though, I would put like early socialization. What kind of socializing did the breeder do with your litter puppies? What kind of enrichment? What kind of engagement? What kind of conditioned fears have developed? Potentially without even you knowing. Potentially you're doing it and you don't realize it. So when people yell at a dog or correct a dog in the presence of something they're a little bit afraid of, you might exasperate that fear and condition an even greater fear around that stimulus. Number 4 would be exercise. The amount of exercise and the type of exercise. So when I say does your dog get exercise? Yeah, he gets to run around the backyard all day long. That's not really exercise. So taking the dog out somewhere, ideally that they can get off leash, that they can run. I know that's not always possible, but there's so many sniff spots that can be rented now that it is becoming more and more possible for everyone. Not too much exercise, not too little, age appropriate. So a puppy is not going to need as much as a super fit 2-year-old dog. How much exercise and what goes hand in hand? How much rest, how much sleep, and the quality of the sleep. So if the dog wakes up every 5 minutes, then that's not really great quality of sleep. So that's number 5 is sleep. Number 6 on my checklist that I went through, and this is a biggie, and it is environment. So it could be environmental stress. And if you're in a home with a lot of fighting and arguing, the science has shown that our dogs absorb that energy. So it could be emotional. It could be toxicity in the environment. Something as simple as a scented candle or air fresheners can absolutely affect a dog's behavior and health. It could be that the dog's eating mushrooms somewhere in the backyard that you're not aware of, or eating something else that you aren't aware of. It could be flea and tick products that are causing behavior challenges to your dog. Or it could be something as simple as food dyes in your dog food, right? So environment, I'm pretty much a stickler for environment, including for me, the EMFs in the environment. So how many repeaters do you have for your Wi-Fi all around your house? I turn my Wi-Fi off at night. I'm a big stickler for that one because I live in the house is all concrete here, and we have a lot of repeaters because, the signal doesn't transfer through the walls or the floor. Wi-Fi gets turned off at night, and most weekends I don't even have the Wi-Fi on. Okay, so that's the environment. This is a biggie, and that is nutrition. And this is the one that I landed on for this. I feed my dogs amazing diet. Up until feature, my last few dogs lived to be almost 18 years old, and they had amazing quality of life. They were active. They were still going for walks at that age. So why would I ever think that nutrition was a problem? Nutrition might start with when your puppy was in utero, the nutrition of the bitch, or the nutrition of the dog that sired that litter, or the nutrition that the puppies got when they were being raised. And of course, the nutrition that you're giving them now. You might be feeding, like me, the best nutrition possible, but guess what? That wasn't what my dog needed. Okay, so there's 7 categories that you can look to for altering your dog's behavior.